galvanize your imagination. We're counting down the 40 most popular songs in the USA, ranked by Billboard magazine. Number 33. Recording star John Cougar follows up his current top 10 smash, Hurts.
Welcome back, everybody. And we are out here looking at Blondie, the 2000 Chrysler Grand Voyager once again. It is time, as you can see. Winter is coming, so it is time to actually make this thing proper ready for winter. And we've got quite a bit to do. So if we turn around here, I've got a fat pile of parts here that I've been banking on for a little while. We've got a new steering column. We've got an electrical issue in the key switch that I've been kind of just living with for a while. That's going to fix that. And I got two new to us CarQuest branded struts. Those should replace those junk ones in there. I got two shocks right there. Actually, I think I got 4 shocks there. I think there's another set in there somewhere. We'll find out. We got ourselves some shocks here. Those will go with this. And let's continue with the unboxing here. We've got ourselves, this is a fan relay switch thing, the little resistor. Been banking on that for a while. We've also got an issue with the headlight switch, if you remember. So I got this one. This one's actually a fog light switch, but it should do the job. If not, I think I have another one. So we'll see if that works. Then we come over here, and we got brake hoses. Brake hoses, brake hoses, brake hoses. We've got all new brake hoses. There's another one. And if we continue here, we've got a valve cover gasket set right here. And then I believe this is a motor mount. Yes, it is. We got all the motor mounts in here as well. There's another motor mount. There's another motor mount. And motor mount. Besos de motor, or Beses de motor. That's the hard one to get at. I love that one. I believe this is a brake hardware kit. I believe we got 2 wheel cylinders here because we really don't got shit for back brakes. Are these brake shoes? Probably. And then, what's in here? Ah, the heater core. Yes, we need that for winter. That's the big one. I think that's where I'm going to start today. Oh, and then I got 2 front wheel bearings. Yes. And what is this? That's for the valve cover gasket. Little guys that go around the bolts. The captive bolts. And that's the end of that big box. So, that's what we got. We got a lot of brake work. We got valve cover gaskets, motor mounts, and we got a whole front end to do. Wheel bearings, struts, sway bar links. And then we've got some more interior work there with the steering. I'll probably pull this out of the way before I do the heater core just to give us more clearance there. So, yeah, I think we're going to start with doing the steering column maybe, but the heater core for sure, wherever that right here, this. Because I don't got heat in that, and, you know, that's a necessary thing for winter. Anyway, I think we'll just kind of start plugging away here. Oh, and I was going to, here, debating on how far I want to go into fixing that strut tower. Just kind of refresh myself here on what this looks like. Refresh all of us here because it's been a little while, probably. I don't know. You might have consecutive episodes of this. I know there's some more footage that hasn't come out yet at this time. Yeah, so we've got that. And right now it's got a bunch of fluid film on it to kind of keep it from rusting any further, preserve it, if you will. So that's kind of how that is. I'm kind of just thinking, because I've got 2 strut caps, but I don't want to waste them on this van, because they're actually not as easily sourceable anymore. So what I wonder is if we get the strut out here, and I just kind of cut a square here, and I just make a new piece. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we do just something like that. This one over here, I kind of just might ignore until it gets worse, because I still got to cut the same amount through it. You know what I'm saying here? And if we fluid film it, it might just slow it down so it doesn't get worse so quick. That one I'm going to probably leave alone. That one I should do something about. Otherwise, yeah, you can see this valve cover just a leaking. Not leaking as bad as it was. I didn't have the gaskets at the time when I had this apart, unfortunately. Now the rear is leaking just as bad, so we'll have to pull this off, which means we'll have to pull the hood, which means we'll have to have that out of the way, which will make this easier to do, and then maybe I will mess around with. I don't know. You guys see what I'm saying? That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do, and then after all that, we got to get it aligned. I don't see tie rods in there. Did this need them or not? It must not have. I'll check when I get it in the air, because otherwise I'll get some tie rods on order too, so we can get that all taken care of ASAP. So anyway, let's take a look over here where we're starting here on the heater core. So for the heater core, these are actually better than the first 2 gens because you can almost get them out here. If you pull the cover off, pull the gas pedal out of the way, and then you pull that little cover there, you can sneak the heater core out of there, which is actually nice. You don't have to pull the whole dash out like we happen to have out, and then I didn't do the heater core. However, we're going to pull the steering column out of here too, so we should have some more play, and we should really just easily be able to get that in and out of there, no problem. That is the plan anyway. Now make sure you have a nice big towel under here or something, because it's gonna leak coolant out, and you obviously don't want to get that everywhere. That's ideal anyway. So I'm just gonna start plugging away, and I'll bring it back. All right, well, I got all the trim out here, and I got the new light switch in. I just tested it, and it seems to work perfect. Well, yeah, there you go. Dimmer was off. Yeah, look at that. On, it's on, and then lights are on, and I can see the lights reflecting in the snowmobile right there. So we're good to go. The other one didn't work at all, so lights, important. And boom, steering column is removed. It's actually pretty straightforward to get that out of here. So first thing you're going to want to do is pull off that trim right there, and then you can unhook the wire harness, get that pulled out of the way. Then you get this shift linkage right there, which you just unbolt. It's a 10 mil, and then you just slide it off. Good to go. And then it's the 13 mil nut and bolt down on the steering shaft. Get that out of the way. That's just 4 10s up here, and the whole column comes right out. Now we got to go do some part swapping between them, because the other one's wrong trim and everything, and yeah, I got to switch to the key lock, but no big deal there. But that does give us pretty clean access back here. All that out of the way to that heater core. So I'm gonna go ahead, try to get those out. Those are like 8 mil 5/16 on that cover there. That should give us access to the hoses there, which should be another bolt like that. Get that out of there, and then we'll just slide that heater core out of there, and we should be good to go. Look what I got! A heater core that apparently doesn't work. It seems kind of mucky coming out of it. Definitely made a giant mess. I sucked up most of it so it didn't get on the carpet, but you know, it's kind of iffy colored, and it likes to flow out of this side, not really out of that. But I want to mess around with it, just see if I can get it to flow, or if I can really see that it doesn't. But that's junk. Anyway, you could really do with getting a brake pedal. I think I remember doing that when I did it on String Bean, like a long time ago, 5 years ago or whatever. I was able to just press the pedal down, and I was able to snake it by. I had to get the bracket out for this. I couldn't remember whether or not you had to. You had to. And you're still kind of rubbing as you're coming out, but it's out. One thing to look for is make sure those aren't corroded, because String Bean, which I don't know if you heard of it. I've never probably told this story. String Bean had a heater core done by the shop by the previous owner, and then it leaked on me again. So I did it again, and then it leaked on me again. It turned out that where the O-rings are on that unit right there, it was corroded, and it would actually blow coolant by the O-rings and come out the side, thinking it's a heater core when it really was just that tubing. So just make sure those are good. I've had that issue. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just gonna put the new one in, and we're gonna see if it's good or not. And just like that, shiny new heater core in there. Hopefully it makes a difference. That would be awesome. I couldn't really see anything particularly wrong with the old one, but it didn't work, I'll tell you that much. Alright, so I'm going to work on the steering column next. We'll get that all situated, and then we'll have to start it, and we'll bleed that heater core, and hopefully it works. Okay, so we're looking at these 2 columns here, and really, the only reason I pulled this whole column is because it was the same price as just pulling this, because it was the wheelbarrow sale. So this, I think, is the issue, is this ignition switch, and that goes onto here. And it's one, what is this, like a T4 or whatever security bit. It's a T10H, so it's a T10 security bit. And it gets him off, and then you've got just 2 clips here that it just clips over. You just pop those and it comes right off. Anyway, that's how that key runs here, as you can see. And if you look right here, we got this little guy down here. In 2000, these are chip keys, so this is a little chip reader there. But we don't need that, we just need this guy right here. And if you look on ours, you can see some corrosion just on the pins right there. So I'm thinking inside of here is super, super corroded. You can kind of see like residue from something. This thing's sat. So I think we pop this guy off real quick, swap it out, make sure the pins are clean on the plug. I think that's all we'll need. And the other thing is, I didn't spin this, but it was moved in the garage by my dad, and I'm worried that this, I'm not sure how this clock spring is clocked anymore, so I don't want to have to go through dealing with that. Plus, we don't have to pull the steering wheel or anything if we just swap it here. Otherwise, we got a good column for parts here. Probably that clock spring's no good, but good key switch, keys, and everything for it. I'll swap that real quick. There's a security bit right down there. And this steering wheel is still clocked right here, so we'll try not to do that. And we should be good to go. Yeah, for sure. Look at the ground pin, how corroded that is. Look at this. I'm surprised this thing works. There's how nice and clean this one is, for example. Yeah, look at that. That is 100% the problem. So, yeah, this thing got wet or something. I don't know what the hell. You know, it's sat. Otherwise, same part number and everything, it looks like. They're both out of a 2000, so we should be good to go. Throw that in. I think that's going to solve our problem. Well, I took apart the switch just to see. And yeah, that was fixing to leave me stranded, I think, because one of these times I was just going to quit. Look at the corrosion in there. That guy is no good. No bueno. El Junco. That's for sure. All right, steering column's back in. Let's see if it works. That would be ideal. Yep, it does, because the fan kicked on. So what would happen is we'd have an airbag light and an ABS light, and the fan wouldn't work. And it works. ABS light should go out. It does. And the fan works. Yes. Okay, so fixed our ignition problem. We fixed our lights problem. Hopefully we fixed our heater core problem. I'm going to let this thing run, and I'm going to... hopefully it does... It's freaking dripping. Okay, so the lesson there is don't be a lazy bum like me and just change the O-rings. I was too lazy, so I didn't. And, well, that's what happens when you don't. Anyway, I got new O-rings in there, and wow, it's not leaking. That's crazy. Unbelievable. Weird concept there. Anyway, I'm going to let it warm up now, top off the coolant again, and hopefully we have heat. We have a fan at least. I got good news and I got bad news. Bad news, I got no heat coming out of this vent or this vent. And then I got no airflow coming out of this vent or this vent. Good news, I have heat coming out of these 2 vents, just no airflow. So I wonder if it wasn't a heater core this whole time and it's a blend door issue. I thought that I had gone through and triggered this stupid thing to do what it needs to do, but maybe not. Or maybe this face is bad. I don't know. Wish me luck. Let me try that again. This has to be all the way over. This has to be all the way up. This has to be all the way on. Let's try it. Let's start here. I think this should do the blenders on the inside. The other one's just for the AC and heat, which is might be the vent we need anyway. Anyway, I'll let you know. Okay, I'll tell you right now, we definitely have heat. The heater core is working. I think it's this. I think it's the driver's side control. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find the other one of these and swap it in and just see if we have any better results. That controller is bad. I got good heat right now. I'm gonna recalibrate this one. The AC works because I heard the compressor kick on, but this was being funny even with that one. This controller is bad. or that one is. So I think I'm going to swap this controller into that bezel, but let me try calibrate it first. I got good heat right now. That's wild. Well, that saga is over. We've got all the interior stuff done. Got working lights, we got a working ignition switch, and most importantly, for the winter, we have working heat. We do have the lights still go on for the hot cold for the AC. I wonder if the AC just doesn't have enough charge for it to reach proper temperature. That's the flash code it's doing right now. So I heard it kick on, so it's got some in it. So it's not like out or anything, but maybe it just needs a top up. I'll worry about that at some other point. Now we got to decide which direction we want to go, which really all roads lead to the same, well, not all of them, but most roads lead to the same place. Do we start working on maybe the valve covers, which means taking the hood and all this stuff off, which also starts over here? Or what I was thinking, why don't we do the rear brakes first and the rear shocks, because that's easy. That's my thought. So I think I'll jack the rear up in the air. I'll get the axles on jack stands. That way we can have all 4 tires off when we have to re-bleed the brakes. But I figure we'll start back there. That's where I want to start. So let's get to it.
For Tuesday, sunshine with a high near 60 degrees. Wednesday, sunny and 54. For the best barbecue hunters, Nickmer's 9, Run to You by Brian Adams.
Yep. Half a brake. That's seized. Alright, well I got the driver's side all tore down. We definitely got some bad hardware here. So the pads are a little wore down. As you can see, there's the thickness of our new ones. There's our old ones. I don't know why I didn't buy a drum. Whatever. So I spent some time and I chiseled out this groove. If you guys remember, that's why this tire was stuck in when we first found the vehicle. This groove was just rusted. Anyway, I chiseled it out a little more. The springs are all kind of rotten and whatever, so good thing we got hardware. I also got the shock out. I cannot believe that bottom bolt came out. It actually looks really good. So that's awesome. That shock it's not completely blown. It still kind of resists, but it's leaking oil here. It's obviously rusted away pretty bad, and it's kind of stiff. It's kind of stuck. As far as the wheel cylinder goes, this side moves, but the other side, whoops, I had it backwards. This side moves, but this side is still seized. So this wheel cylinder wasn't working. We didn't have rear brakes, which I didn't figure. It was way out of when I came in here, the adjuster was loose and the pads were kind of they were stuck where they were at. But yeah, this rear brake was not functioning this entire time, the 1,000 miles we drove it. So that's good. Also broke one of the last 2 original sections of brake line on the vehicle. So that'll disappear. And then I really want to replace that last remaining one up here. Yeah, this section right here. There's one section from here to halfway up there. I'd like to delete on, so then it's all done. They're all gone. But we're looking pretty good as far as disassembly goes. I assume the other side's going to have a similar story. We'll clean up all these because these are rotted and rusty. Clean up the little slide pins. Clean up this. And we'll put all the new hardware in. We've got new shoes, new hardware. We'll clean up and free up the adjuster. And throw the new shock in and call this side good. Repeat on the other side. All right, got the driver's side brake all done. All new hardware and everything. Got the self-adjuster set back up to where it actually frickin' works. That's helpful, actually, believe it or not. There. Yep, set right. But I got it all adjusted. Drum's ready to go. I knocked the lip off with the grinder. And that should be that. Everything's lubed up. Parking brake's all freed up. Good to go. Should be good. I haven't tested the cable, to be honest, but that's all there is to that side. I have the other drum off on the other side. And somebody remind me, I'm pretty sure I put a I remember it now. I put this in here, remember, because I broke a bleeder off. So it's got a good wheel cylinder on this side. So we just got to swap the hardware out and fix the adjuster that's not working clearly. So, hell, the hardware on this side actually looks good. In fact, this wheel bearing, see how shiny this wheel? I wonder if this wheel bearing wasn't done at some point. I don't know. Then again, it kind of feels like crap. But whatever. I'm just going to replace the hardware, replace the shoes, free up the adjusters, call it a day. We will save that wheel cylinder. I won't need to use it because clearly there's one in here. So that's all there is to that. I got both new shocks in on both sides. This shock still had some pressure on the passenger side. And that'll be that. Ignore my goop. I tried to seal up. This is from where we punched holes through the inside on the when we had the floor out. I tried to put some stuff in here. Clearly I used too much and it gooped up. So I'm waiting for it to kind of harden. I'm going to push it back up. That's not the right sealant. What I should do is put a plate over that. See all of our beautiful welds here. So, I don't know. I was just trying to keep stuff from getting in there, and it looks like it's still kind of sealed anyway. Whatever. Enjoy that mess. What? 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 Weirdo. Well, I fixed that issue up there, clearly. I got this brake all done. It fought me a little bit, but hey, it's done. Cool, whatever. Now I've been fighting, and I just got the rear brake hoses out. Well, the brackets... There was definitely more to be desired in that bracket. I cannot believe I didn't snap it off of the axle. I got lucky there; it came apart. Anyway, that's all apart now. So I'm gonna put the new hoses on quick, get the 3 lines hooked up, and then I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna make myself a quick brake line, and that'll be the rear brakes all done. I think I'm gonna bleed them up, and that way, that's gonna be it for the night. I'll probably just drive it tomorrow. We'll see how it feels with rear brakes. That way it's in one piece, and, you know, we'll just see how everything works there. And then we'll come back and we'll do the front. Maybe I'll just do the front brake hose. That's all I got to do is the hoses. It won't be that hard. And then I'll just be done with the brakes. They're all bled. That's probably the play, right? So I'll get back to you on that. There's our new brake line in. Get them bled up, and we're good to go in the rear. Oh, late night update here. I'm still working away at it. Leo is still over here being a pest. But I did do the right thing, and I replaced that last brake line right there. Got him run up there, right? Yeah. He says good job. And I got that run over to the prop valve. Otherwise, I got the bleeders cracked over here. I'm going to top off the brake fluid and get ready to bleed these rear brakes. I'll do the front hoses when I do the front end, and then I'll just bleed the fronts. You. What? Yeah, my greasy hands. Yeah, you like that? Anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. I'm going to get these bled up, get these done, tested, and I'll see you guys back here when we start on the front end. Well, here we are. I did drive it to work this morning. I kind of just felt like doing that, so I did. The rear brakes worked really good. They seem to be good. We're sitting at what, 150 and a 474. Now the lights all work good. The heat works fantastic. I'm sitting in here just playing around on my phone here. I just got back from the DMV transferring a title for a project that you guys don't know about yet. Spoilers. Anyway, the thing's running phenomenal. It's driving great. You can definitely feel this strut, the driver's side. One of these front struts does this, and it does not work at all. It's all spring, no shock. So, anyway, I just figured I'd update you. The rear brakes are working fantastic. We've had no issues so far. And that'll be that. Well, we got the van pulled into the garage here. It's a lot warmer in here. It's currently raining and snowing outside. My plan is, because what we've got to replace, I figure it's been a little while, so what we have to do is we have to do the 2 front brake hoses, we have to do both strut assemblies, the sway bar links, and I'm going to do the front wheel bearings because they made noise when I first got it moving. However, the noise went away. I figured maybe the grease heated up in the bearings, but we're going to replace them regardless since we got it apart. Alright, got the hood and the cowling all tore down and everything. I forgot about this reminded me while I was doing this. The windshield is shot. 1, it's delaminated. 2, it's kind of etched and scratched and rock chipped. And 3, it's cracked here. I think I did that. I think I cracked it here. When I was taking the hood off one of the times, I think it slipped from here to here, and it chipped the glass. You can see the dent. And it is starting to crack. Anyway, that doesn't matter because the glass was shot anyway. So I'm going to call the glass guy tomorrow, and we'll see if he can get out here and put a glass in quick. That would be ideal. It'll be a lot nicer, too. Alright, here's progress update. Got the intake ripped off. I didn't remember being in there and having the upper plenum off, but apparently I had, because that gasket was fresh and the EGR gasket was fresh. Why did I suppose, did I have to have it loose to get that out? Maybe I just pulled it loose and didn't actually pull it off. Because I suppose I would have had to have it out to do those, remember the rear heater lines? When we converted it just to front heat only. The other thing, it looks like I taped this. Did I have both valve covers off? I must have. I don't remember, to be honest with you. Okay, so over off screen here, I've got the valve covers all cleaned up. Got the little captive bolt, like the little washer seals on the bolts. I got those cleaned up, ready to go. And I'm getting ready to put the valve cover gaskets on the valve covers I just cleaned up. And this is the old gasket here, right? It's the fat one. It's the captive valve cover gasket. And so I've got this right here, right? VS 50449R, 98 to 2000, 3.3 and 3.8. And so I pull this gasket out of the box, and I go to put it on the valve cover, and I'm like, wait a minute. That ain't right. Those aren't even close. What? And here I am thinking I'm crazy, and I ordered the wrong gasket set, but it's like it says 98 to 2000. So I actually ordered 3 of these, I think, on closeout. And so I went down and I grabbed the other 2 boxes, and wouldn't you know it, these 2 have the correct gaskets in them. This one's really nice and pliable. This one's kind of harder material. So I think we're going to use the soft one. But, well, what the heck? This box has the, I believe this is the 01 to 07 gaskets in it, like the 4th gen gaskets. How? How do you do that? Thanks, Felpro. I'll have to scratch this out and write 01 to 07 on it, but yeah, that threw me for a fat loop. I was like, there's no way I ordered the wrong ones again. Because I ended up, I think the first time I ordered just the regular non-captive ones because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so we've got this one, this red one, and we got this blue one here. This it's like a harder rubber, and then this is like a softer rubber. I think we're just going to use this. But yeah, so that happens sometimes. The heck, man? Oh, look at that shiny new windshield. I actually had my glass guy come out and took care of that for us. And Cat is up there now. Yeah, so he got a brand new windshield for it. He couldn't find the one with the defrost little tracks here, so it doesn't have those, but that's whatever. It's got a defrost vent, so it's fine. But yeah, it's brand new glass. It's all glued in. It's good to go. And most importantly, I think we can see out of it, but it looks really good up there. I don't know where I want to pivot to next. I'm kind of trying to build some motivation here. I might just rip the front end apart just to have it apart. You know, maybe bang on those wheel bearings or something. I don't know. I haven't quite decided where I want to go yet, but I figured I'd show you the new windshield because it's in, and it looks pretty good. Well, this is going just about how you'd expect. I got the brake hose off of there. That guy I had on really tight, but whatever. I got the caliper off, not really a big deal, except the slide pins are, well, you tell me how they are. That one looks somewhat resembles a good slide pin. That one is roached really bad. They're both seized and they're pretty good. I can get maybe a touch of movement out of them, but like they should move pretty easy. So it definitely needs new slide pin boots. The way this slide pin looks, I'd say it needs a new pin. So it probably needs 2 new pins and boots. I'll have to dig around and see what I got. Hopefully I got something on hand, otherwise we'll have to order that in. But the brake material is good. But the rear of the rotor, which I think we already knew is kind of grooved a little bit, I'm going to ignore it. Except for the fact I can't get the rotor off the hub. I've been heating and beating on it right now. And hopefully we don't warp it or anything. But it's pretty hermetically seized on there. It's on there good. And then for sure we'll have to clean up these grooves. As you can see, the pads have kind of been sticking. Especially that rear pad's been sitting where it's at. We'll have to smooth that out. This should improve our braking tremendously. That guy right there, that's the speed sensor for this side. I don't think he's going to survive being removed. So we might have to get a hold of one from Upol. Oh yeah, look at the inside of that rotor. I didn't really look at the thickness till I just saw it on camera. It really needs new front brakes. It really does. Okay. I'll think about it, all right? I mean, it'll still stop, but I'll think about it. It should stop better if we fix that. But I really should replace that. Well, there, it's broke loose. Look at its steam. Heated it up, sprayed it, heated it up. Still nothing. I'm trying to not beat the surface of the rotor. I upgraded the heavy hammer, and I was hitting the inside lip a bunch. It's still nothing. And so I took it upon myself, well, if it's seized on those lugs, we're replacing the hub anyway, so I bashed all the lugs in. Gave me more hitting surface on there, and a bunch of good hits, because I'm hitting it inward, and the idea is to kind of shock it so it goes like that and breaks loose, instead of hitting it out this way, because, well, the only surface to hit's the braking surface. So these are the joys of a vehicle up in the salt belt. As you can see, the strut is rusted and shot. The brake hose was rusted and shot. The ABS sensor is rusted and shot. The slide pins were rusted and shot. The rotor was rusted and shot to the wheel hub, which is rusted. And it was making noise when I first got it running and driving, and then it went away. So, shot. But that's not the part about it. We're replacing them because we're in here, and I knew they were making noise, so they'll probably make noise again. What happened is that grease got hard, and then it got warm and softened up. Is most likely. But you guys are going to get to see the joys of removing a Midwestern salt belt wheel hub, and it can be fun. Sometimes you get lucky and they come right out, and most of the time they do not. So they're usually seized inside the hub, and the inside surface of the hub is compressed it and kind of grabs it, and you sometimes get an air chisel in there. Sometimes it's just a lot of beating. I showed the struggle on a very old video on Green Bean, the 97 Caravan LE. If you want to go look at that, it was in one of those videos on that van where we did the rears, and they were a pain in the butt. So I got a feeling these will be too, but that van had more than double the miles this thing does, and it lived up in the Rust Belt. Well, actually, no, it was on the East Coast somewhere, and then it got auctioned off and brought up here. Surprising.
For the family Santa pick. Then fly Slay High at Nickelodeon Universe at Mall of America. Hundreds of stores. Do you healing modalities and tools to realize energy, shift temperatures, and restore balance, so you can awaken to your greatest potential. I am Brianna, and I am inviting you to take your session with me today. So go to lightandcoaching.com. Combined Light and Cozy Coaching, located in Body Concepts on North Riverfront Drive in Mankato.
Severe life-changing injuries. Against all odds, Jack survived after undergoing...
Alright, got the strut separated from the hub and spindle, and got the axle out. It's kind of just sitting there. That's kind of how I'm going to try keep it. I don't want to pull it out of the transmission if I can help it. As you can see, it's kind of, well, was kind of dryish and rusty looking. What you hear here is a bunch of rust and debris and stuff. I get in here with a pick. Look at this right here. Like, this whole bottom piece is separating from the shock, like the whole mount piece. And there's old, you can see like white where it's still got like calcium chloride and like salt. Road salt is what that is. But this wants to fold. This is rusted here. You can see this lip is split. A little couple taps, I bet you that would start falling apart. I mean, look at all the rust that fell on the ground just from me banging on everything. All right, well, we got the strut out here, and this one's not so bad. I think the inner structure is not compromised, but what this is it's like a two-piece. It's got an inner piece here, and then it's got the outer tower, and they're kind of spot welded together. Anyway, what happens is moisture gets underneath these layers and rots the two apart. This outer layer is kind of bulged out. As you can see, I just peeled this back. And then it's also done the same thing down on the side here. So I think for this passenger side, we're only going to have to skin the outer layer off, like from like here and then down and then across, and then kind of just separate that inner and outer layer and clean up the metal, treat it really well, and then maybe come up with something to kind of go over top of that just to brace it. All right, guys, I think it's just going to come out. I already see a seam. It's already broke loose, which is unbelievable, to be honest. Usually these fight tooth and nail. Whoops, don't hit the inner fender with that. Lucky me. I think these wheel studs survived. I even think they'll be all right. Cool. That bearing is definitely junk, by the way. It's got play in it. I can feel the play. How about that? Part of that maybe from banging on, but I can feel the play in this wheel hub. So, good thing we're in here. We'll definitely clean this up with some sandpaper and stuff, but, well, that was not as difficult as it could have been. No play in anything else here. You know, control arm feels good, ball joint feels good, tie rod feels good. We are fully disassembled on this side. Now, there's the driver's side all tore apart. That hub has excessive play in it, like it's bad. Can I show this on camera? I don't know if I can. And some of that may be me banging on it, but it shouldn't fall apart that bad. Here, getting my clean hands all dirty. See that? Shot, junk. So yeah, the only other thing I got to take apart, which I realized on the driver's side as well, or the passenger side as well, is the little knuckle there for the or the ball for the sway bar link. Strut tower. Yeah, so not too bad over on this side. I don't think we're worried about that. Right here, the inner plate obviously is compromised. That needs a sort of patch on it somehow. Up front here, this structure is okay. It's all nice and clean. No rust in there, no swelling or anything. But you can see moisture can get up in there. Like, they put, and there was an attempt to seal that. The attempt wasn't very good, if you ask me. So, I don't know. We're just going to goob it full of oil after we clean it up. I'll have to come in here with brake cleaner or something and kind of clean the old oil out. Maybe gasoline on a rag. But, as far as this goes, we don't have to do so much down there, but we'll have to kind of, I think I'm going to stay out of the bolt holes themselves, because I think the structure on the holes themselves are fine. Kind of cut, you know, and do like a square, and then a little curve on the end there. But we'll see. we'll see how far we go. We definitely have to peel the outer structure back over in here. The inner should be okay in the corner here, but we'll see. I definitely am going to fix them while we're in here, but they're not that bad. There's definitely could be a lot worse. Okay, so I've done some part pricing and some looking in my inventory. And if I was to go through O'Reilly and get them ordered in for tomorrow, it would be approximately $550, give or take. So, and that would be for both CV axles, new rotors, pads, as well as the slide pin boots and the pins themselves. Now, if I ordered it through Rock Auto, which then they wouldn't be here till the end of next week, give or take, depending on Christmas shipping, which is not very good right now. It would be $267. So less than half. Well, yeah, less than half of the price if I went and got them next day. Here's the thing. I could get them shipped through Rock Auto, have them here Tuesday, and it would still be only $400-something. So it's a no-brainer to order the stuff through Rock Auto if I was to do that. However, I know these CV axles are good enough for now, and they're not clicking or anything, and I don't remember, this thing didn't really shake. And heck, the front wheels, I don't even think they've got wheel weights on them, so I don't even know if they're balanced. But I tightened up that clamp on the other CV. I think we'll just ride the CVs out. And then the brakes, we know the hardware is there. We've got plenty of meat on the pads. The driver rotor looks perfect. It's just that passenger rotor because that stuck slide pin, which, if you look right here, look what I got. I've got 2 pins and then 4 boots. I don't think we need all of that hardware. I think these are the right boots and pins. I'm going to take that caliper apart. I'll get those pins out and we'll look. Because if this is good, we can grease up the slide pins. The brakes I can let ride. The CVs I can let ride. We don't have to spend any money, and we can put it all back together with what we have. And then we can always come back later and replace the CV axles as necessary, because we get the new struts in, it'll get aligned. I can make alignment marks, and I can know where I'm at to be able to take the CVs out and put them back in. So that's the route I'm going to go. I'm going to buy nothing. We're going to reuse what we have, because money and time, and I've got these, so. Verdict is in, we're good. So the passenger side needs both the pins and the boots. If you look at the pins, look at how rotten these pins are. These are shot. I can't just sand the rust off. It's physically eaten away, especially this is the one with the really bad boot, but they were both tore. So we've got 2 pins over here, and they are the same. So those are good to go. The driver's side just needs cleaned up. These pins look pretty good. The boots looked okay, but we'll just use the best fitting boots of the 8 we've got, or 6 or whatever. And then what we want to do is we want to come in here, take sandpaper, clean this out. These bores, what happens is the rust gets in there and crushes it. So we'll clean these all out really good, and then we'll get the best slide pins cleaned up, greased up, best boots put on, and we should be good to go. We don't have to spend any money, don't have to do any more waiting, and that'll ride. Because I mean, look at that. These look okay. They'll ride, and if they start to shake, or or they get warped or whatever, which they shouldn't now. I pushed all these pins out with my fingers, so they weren't stuck, but they were stuck. We should be good to go. We can always come back and replace brakes later. They'll be all right for now. Just as those CVs should be okay for now, at least to get everything else done and get it back on the road. Okay, I've been busy this morning. I got the brake calipers all cleaned up. Got the new to it slide pins and everything installed, and they all move on both calipers. So that's good to go there. And then I've been working on the spindles. I got the brake pad surfaces all cleaned up with a grinder and then greased up with brake grease. And then I did the same with the wheel hub. Took like a circular drill bit there, and then we ground that down like one of those little sanding discs, the wire wheels. That's what I'm looking for. Ground the surface of this all down, and then applied brake grease to that so it doesn't re-rust, hopefully. Did that on both sides. So we should be good to put the wheel hubs in and start reassembling the brakes. I am going to go ahead and clean up the gears on the CV axles before I throw those in quick. Just try to take a file to them and see if we can clean them up a little bit. And then Maybe the sensors will work, maybe they won't, but we should be good to start reassembly, at least everything aside from the strut. Alright, we're back to work today, and I've taken all of the stuff out around the strut towers. You know, hood hinge, power steering, trans computer, and then I've gone in, I heated up the backside, got this sticker off mostly in one piece, at least enough to be able to tell what it was. And I've gone in and cleaned up all the oil off of the strut towers that we sprayed on it previously, and I've took a pen and I've marked how much we want to cut off of this outer shield. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to do that big piece there. And then we'll take that off. We got to drill out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spot welds, it looks like. And that piece should come off and expose the inner layer of metal, which we should be able to clean up and treat whatever rust is there. And then I'm going to take this piece and kind of use it to design another piece to put over top of it, and we'll kind of put it back the same way it was. That's the plan anyway. And over here, done the same thing, cleaned up this tower. And then this is the piece we're going to cut out of the outer layer. We're going to have to do some work on the inner layer, but for starters, we got to get this outer layer peeled off. And we're going to be able to avoid all these spot welds, it looks like, because the rust didn't go as far down. There's one here, it looks like, and that's probably maybe one there, but that's probably the one spot weld that'll hold us. Otherwise, we're going to slice that off, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I got spot welds drilled out, I think enough, and I've got our cut made. I had to kind of do something like that just because of inability to get in here without cutting through the fender. I ended up using a little hair die grinder here. Well, there we are. As you can see, the good strut tower, quote unquote, was hiding some secrets there, and I knew that. You could see where it was bulging. That's about what you expect there. But we've got it cut around, got pretty well all of it exposed. And here's the old panel here. I've got it bent back into shape, so you can see it. Perfect. We'll just weld that right back in and we'll be good to go. I should be able to make a repair panel or some sort out of that, but I got to start. I'm going to get this rust sanded down here, get it treated, and then while that's curing, we'll go over here and just start cutting this. I think this side's actually going to be easier to cut because we don't have to cut so far down into here. It's hard to get at. This was probably the harder side to cut out. Alright, so that's how far the rust actually went. I thought about it, I'm like, no, I'm in here, I better cut it all the way back. So I just started going this way, and it went, and it went, and it went, and you can see that's just the very end of it up here, right there. And then over here I did a kind of intrusion cut just to check, and that is actually where the rust ends. It kind of started at that spot weld, so we should be good to just kind of hammer that down and clean that up. But as far as this goes, I think I'm going to have to try cut it. I should be able to cut that now that it's folded up. But we'll have to clean this all up too. Yeah, nice. So that's how far the good side went without noticing all that. This is what's happening, is it's just rusting in between the panels. Just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. It started kind of in this area here, and then it's just kind of spread. So if that's how far that is, you can imagine how far that goes probably. I guess we'll see, huh? Alright, there it is, all cut out, ground down, cleaned up. That is as far as we're going. It's ready for treatment. As you can see, it's all shiny metal and, pitted metal, but it's all clean. So, and there we go. I'm going to hammer this down flat when we go to clean it, or go to put it back together, but I want to make sure I get some paint under there first. But, yeah, I just got to vacuum it up. We'll do a little prep sol on the surface, and then we're going to put some rust dissolver gel on there and let that soak. Alright, we got cut into the driver's side tower here. As you can see, the rust didn't go down as far. See, there's paint and everything here. Maybe the start of something. I'm not going to ask any questions, and we're not going to find out. That's as far as we're cutting. Over here, a little bit kind of poking through the paint. We're going to clean that up and treat that and call that good. Here, it kind of goes back a little bit. I probably will knock out that spot weld and this spot weld, and we'll just kind of peel up the metal, kind of what we did over there. And yeah, that's that. I need to think about what I want to do, because I'm probably going to end up having to cut here on this inner panel and kind of put in a patch here, because this is I mean, it's metal, but it's not great. This needs to be addressed here. This is too far gone. So for the passenger side, we're gonna end up, you know, making our own kind of patch panel here to go over that, I think. But for the driver's side, it's another story. Driver's side, we've got a lot more significant structural issues there. And I was back and forth on whether or not I want to do the same thing I was going to do over here. But the inner structure, this is the structural piece that does a lot of the heavy lifting. That's fine. For the driver's side, you can still get this repair kit, which is this doorman kit right here. I believe you can also get them at Raybuck. It's under a different part number, but same thing. You can't get the passenger side anymore. Can't find them anywhere. But this is what you get with the driver's side kit. You get a bunch of structural rivets and some self-tappers, and you get all these instructions here, and then you get this nice, beautiful piece of metal. I've seen a couple different designs. There's some designs where it doesn't include the bolt holes here. I would think, in our case, we'd want that because then it's bolting the strut to this piece instead of just to that, and then hopefully it holds to this, you know what I mean? So instead the bolts for the strut itself are going through this, which is what I would want. Some of the older ones, they're still slotted, so whatever. But if you take a look over here, you just slot this guy. See this right here? Look at this. Watch this. Look at that. Now that's just a rough fit here. We've got to clean up and pound this metal back down. It's sticking up over here because of that. But look at that, slide right over. Bolt holes line up, and that looks nice. Now, before we end up putting this on, I think I'm still going to cut this chunk of metal out, and I think I'm going to weld something in there just to make that a little stronger. But this is going to finish it up really nice, and that should last the life of the vehicle. Hopefully it'll last long enough that if this vehicle ever goes to scrap, I will remove this tower and reuse it. Alright, passenger side's all ready for paint. I cleaned up on the upside and the bottom side, both ready to paint. We're going to put this rust reformer on it first, let that cure for a bit, and then we're going to use, if I reach behind me here, this acrylic enamel, which I seem to like. We're going to go with, I'm going to see if I got a can of gloss black, because I think the gloss will look better, to be honest, but at the very least we'll do this. I really should see if I can't pull any more down. I don't know how far we'll paint here. We'll see. I don't want to do too much, but we're going to use an acrylic enamel as a top coat. And then once we're done with all that, we'll still put that piece of metal we got to weld over top of this yet, and then we'll come in and we'll coat it again after that's done. And then over here, I've got everything cleaned up, and I've got it treated with a rust reformer. I've got this piece of metal cut out. As you can see, that's our patch we need to make. All right, well, I got all the paint work done. Got all this cleaned up, ready to go. It was rust converted and then painted on the underside and the top side on both sides here. I just finished up the paint on here. Looks pretty good. Here's our metal we're going to use to cut out for that patch. And then we've obviously got to put the cap over it. All right, so we got all of the strut tower work done as far as the paint goes. I just came back with a grinder and ground this all down because, if you look right here on top of my beautiful Harbor Freight bucket I got for free when I bought the rivet gun that does 1/4-inch rivets, which is what we need for that kit. You need a rivet gun that does 1/4-inch rivets. I got 2 patch panels. This piece goes right there to shore up this hole right here and connect this back to this inner panel. And then this side over here, we've got this obvious cutout here, which is going to be this piece right here. And if I pull out behind me here, here's the old piece for reference. And then I should have the other one as well. And then here is that piece for reference as well. All right, I got my patch panels all weld primered, and they should be ready to weld. This one's going to hold itself in place here. It should be good enough. We're just going to tack, go around and just kind of keep going like that until that's in place. And that's going to brace this panel to this front piece here. So when we put the outer piece over top, which I did manage to get a hold of one, it'll be here on Tuesday, which today is Saturday. This will be done right, and it'll be done perfect. And it'll have all the strength it had from the factory and probably then some. This one over here, I got clamped in place here. I'm going to have to, with my gloves on, I'm going to have to hold it down here because it's kind of sprung just the way the clamp is. Maybe I just tack it here and then we'll be good. And I should be able to weld that in. And then once this is all done, we're going to get this plate. We're going to do some fine fitment adjustments. We might have to like hammer these in a little bit so they're a little closer. We get these holes drilled, get the rivets in place. We should have this side all done tonight. And I'll let you know how that all goes. I'm going to get the welder done, and I'll bring you back when we've got these 2 panels welded in place. Well, how about that? That's not bad for a little flux core welding and some custom fabrication, I guess, huh? I got it all welded around, all the way around here. I had to do some filling here. There's a little bit of a sizable gap, but it's filled. And then down here, I did the same thing. I welded, at least on the bottom, attached the 2 panels to each other and everything, and that's all good. I'm just going to epoxy paint it and put a couple coats of that. Well, that's drying. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here, which should be a lot less welding. That's a smaller panel to do. But that looks pretty good. And then it'll really look good when this is over top and you can't see none of it. Now, one thing I will say before we put our panels on, what I'm going to do, because we're not doing any welding here, so there's no risk of fire, no risk of anything. Our surfaces are both painted on both sides. This thing is already pre-painted. You know, it's good to go, I would say. We're going to coat the entire tower where this sits in fluid film, so we don't have this multi-layer metal where moisture and salt and rust gets in between. We're going to have that fluid film already in that panel, so it will never rust. That's going to be the key here with these panels. That's why I don't want to weld it, because you could come in here, you could plug weld these, you could weld along the bottom. My welds aren't that good. We've got a flux core welder. I arguably trust the 1/4-inch rivets better. I know they'll work versus my welding. I mean, obviously it's fine. That's going to hold. That's not going anywhere. But without welding, we have the ability to fluid film those multi-layered panels. That's the key here. I know a lot of people glue these on, and it'll kind of look... You've seen some of the junkyard videos, maybe. If you look at some of the ones in the yard, they kind of look like shit. We're going to make this look pretty decent, actually. So, let's get this side done quick, and I'll bring it back. Well, I'll actually show you these welds pre-cleanup, because they actually didn't turn out too bad. I actually had thick enough metal in a good ground, believe it or not. So, yeah, that actually turned out really... honestly good. I haven't done the underside yet. I haven't looked yet, so I'll take a look. Well, here, let's take a look. Do we need to do any cleanup underneath? No, honestly, that looks good enough. I'm actually just gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna maybe take a grinder to it, just so we can knock all the the sputter and stuff out of it, and then we'll go over and we'll paint it just like we painted right over here. Which look at that. That looks really good too, doesn't it? That turned out fantastic. One thing I didn't think about was where we cut this piece off here. I should have ran a bead across that just to kind of secure it. That spot weld is still holding it right there, and whatever structure is on the backside there, I think it'll be all right, but we definitely could have, but it's too late now. I'm not gonna wait for that paint to dry just to grind it down and re-weld, but that is something we probably should have done. It'll be fine. This was the big problem. This is why it got parked right here. Well, this and that whole strut, the bottom of it blowing out, both of them did it in. Because the guy was going to replace the strut, and then he sees this, and then he buys a new welder, puts it in the back, and then doesn't do it. And that's why it got parked. So we've fixed the reason it got parked 10 years ago now at this point. Okay, here's the next step in getting these strut towers completed. So I've got the outer panel here. I kind of just set it where I want it, lined up these holes. It's pretty well centered here. Everything lines up. And what they want you to do is they drill 3 7/32 holes on this front side, whether you're doing the driver or the passenger side. And then you sink these self-tappers into it to kind of hold it. And then you go ahead and do your final adjustments, whatever you need to do. And then you drill all of the holes out to 9/32 to put those 1/4-inch rivets in. And so far, I've got these all in and installed. I did have to do a couple whacks with the hammer here just to kind of fold these edges in. I think 1 whack right here, and it's sitting pretty freaking solid. So we've got a rivet here, rivet here, rivet here, rivet here. This one's going to be kind of a fun one to get at. That's the last rivet. They don't have any rivets back there. So one right here, I don't exactly know how we're going to get that. Maybe, can we... we'll find out. And then rivet, rivet, rivet. And then once you get all those rivets in, rivet, you'll take these 3 self-tappers out, drill these out to 9/32, and you'll put rivets in those too. And then that should be good. Once those are all in, I'll go ahead and I'll put a thin layer of gloss black paint over that just to kind of catch up our scuff marks here and the rivet heads and stuff. But before we sink any rivets in, I'm going to drill all these holes out, and then I'm going to take this back off, and I'm going to put a layer of fluid film on the entire inner structure here, so there's fluid film all in between these panels of metal. That way, that will never rust again. Ideally, the rest of the van will rust around it. Well, I got most of the holes drilled out here, and here's my solution for that last one. Just pull the master loose, which is what I've done, and it was a good thing. We wanted to inspect this anyway, just make sure the seal isn't blown. It isn't. Looks really good, actually. Clean inside there, clean all around this master. Definitely still in good shape. But you get that pulled down out of the way, and you can get your drill and then your rivet gun into that last one there. Alright, got all the holes drilled, got all the metal vacuumed out of here. It's ready for fluid film. Something else I wanted to point out here that was bothering me is that the insulation on the front of the firewall here was hanging down because mice were under it at one point, and it's kind of just warped. So what I've done is I drilled 2 holes in it because I had to drill out, and I put 2 zip ties right there, and guess what? Now it's held up good as new. And the driver's side strut tower, the reason this van was parked almost 10 years ago now, has been repaired. Executive decision. I'm going to not paint that, I think, and leave the rivets silver. I think it kind of looks better for contrast for whatever reason. I won't lie, that rivet gun I have from Harbor Freight cannot really get in this back corner. That one's not a very strong rivet, but it's in there. This one's not very strong, but it's in there. This one rattles. So, and then I couldn't even get this one, so I found a big enough bolt, and I threaded that into there, and that is good to go. And it's all good. That one we got in there really good. Having this out of the way was necessary for those 3. But that's all good. I'm going to go in and I'm going to kind of scrub and clean up everything. I got overspray of fluid film everywhere. And I'm going to start reassembling this side. We should be able to get the battery slotted back. Oh, actually, before we do that, we should do that transmission mount while we have everything tore out of there. Well, maybe I'll put the computer and the power distribution center back in. That way I can get at the battery tray and get that out of the way so we can get at that trans mount better. Otherwise, I'm going to start reassembly on the driver's side. And then I'll start working on these motor mounts because we're still waiting on this bracket. Should be here Tuesday. I paid expensive shipping to have that here on Tuesday. So we'll repeat that same process over here. Hopefully we'll have enough room to get all of the rivets in. I know this AC line's going to play games with us. I've got it loose here. But we'll see when we get to that point. But that looks really good, guys. That turned out absolutely fantastic. Definitely better than some of the other jobs I've seen at U-Pull. I think that is a really clean job. And that should last 20 years, 30 years, however long this van's not going to last that long. I'll guarantee you that. And that will outlast it to the point where I'll probably take that plate back out and reuse it. Well, I'm getting ready to put the engine computer back in. I just wanted to point this out. This thing has had a software update done to it. It's got a new sticker on there and everything. You can see the old stickers hiding under there. But I don't know what that necessarily means, but it's been done, I guess. Alright, I got most of this all back together here. Got the computer and the power unit and everything, the fuse panel. And then I got this battery tray out of the way here. So I could get at this motor mount better. I don't think you need to, but what I'm going to be able to do now is unbolt it from the transmission, unbolt the one piece, and just go straight up with it, because I'll just pull the bracket, and then you just drop it right back in. Easy as that, or at least I can slide it out of there, you know what I mean, instead of trying to fumble it through the bottom. And bonus to that is I get to clean up all this rust and junk that has fallen down here. And then I spotted this, and I'm assuming that's from the original battery clamp that used to be there, and I dropped it too. It's on the ground, whatever, when this got replaced, because that isn't factory. So it kind of fell, and that's where it was. But yeah, so that should be mint. The other bonus to that is I should be able to get this hold down fixed, maybe. I can try to get that out of there and see what I can come up with for a through bolt. But yeah, start working on that motor mount, and we should be good to go. Just so we're clear, I still haven't done the transmission mount, and it's been over an hour. But I got distracted here, and I fixed the door. I mean, I replaced the door with a brand new door. Yeah. I had some tin that was suspiciously the right color, and I was like, why not? And so I fixed the rust on the door. Come on, it's better. It's way better than it was. It's the right color anyway. What do you guys think? I'm gonna go see if I have a touch-up pen, because I thought I did from when we were working on the fender up there. See if I can't paint those bolt heads. Dilly, do you approve? Yeah, he approved. Alright, I got the front trans mount out. And he's wore. You can see some cracking and stuff. It's an original one with Pentastar still on it. Now, the aluminum corrosion on this bad boy is something else. It's starting to push into it and ready for replacement. It wasn't shot, but it's ready. Now, before we put that one in, we're going to take out that bugger right there. So I had to lower the transmission as far down as I could to get at those 3 bolts right there on the case. And now I'm going to jack the transmission up a little bit. I got a wood block on the pan. We're going to jack the trans up a little bit, get the load off of this, and then we're going to pop that mount out, and then we're going to put that mount back in right away, because that's the hardest one to do. And if we put this one in, it's going to be a nightmare getting that one in and out. So we're going to get that one out, get it swapped, get this one put back in. Once those 2 are done, we're going to switch over, do that one, and then we'll move to that one last. Figured I'd show you this mount here. I can see it now. Look at the cracking in that thing. Look at that's our problem right there. Is that mount is completely blown. Yeah, that's a nice one, huh? All right, got that back mount out. It kicked my behind. Yeah, as they do. But it's a good thing we did, because this mount is blown. This is actually bad. It's not. We're not in here for fun. If you look here. See it separate? You do it on both sides if I can do it one-handed. See that? And it does it on both sides. This one, you can see where it's kind of tore there. This one's definitely tore right there. You can see it. And the whole bottom's ripped apart. And these bolts were severely rusted. Gotcha. These bolts right here. These are the 4 bolts that came out. That one took a 17 6-point. That one took an 18 6-point, and these 2 came out okay. I'm going to replace those 2 with something I have in stock, especially that one. But they all came out. The one for right here took a little bit of aluminum thread with it, but it should be okay to thread a new one into. That mount should be good to go. The big bolt came out just fine, no big deal there. I'm going to get that mount put in really quick. Right now the jack's in a perfect spot. It should just slot right in, and we should be good to go. But that one is bad for sure. The trans one was kind of, it's probably all right, the front one. But this back one is blown for sure. All right, that mount has been replaced. I replaced all 4 of those 18 mil bolts with ones I had spare in stock. I believe they were off of Carry the 91 Caravan. And they're all nice and oil coated, so they won't rust like the other ones did. However, I don't think anybody will ever be back there again. If they will, or if they are, you're welcome. I put new bolts in for you. All good to go. Both trans mounts are in. Good to go. Oh, would you looky there. That looks really good, doesn't it? This side is complete. Yeah, that looks good, and arguably it's better than factory. It won't rust again, I'll tell you that much. So that's our used CarQuest strut from the junkyard. I got that all bolted up in here. I'm pretty well done back here. Got this all in place. I got the strut bolted in place. I used a witness mark from the junkyard vehicle, so it's probably close. I got our new brake line in right now. It just started dripping fluid, as you can see. And I got the sway bar link in. This thing has never had sway bar links in it since I've owned it. This will be a huge difference in handling on top of having struts that aren't blown. This is what I'm working on now. I just cleaned up the brake. I just put brake clean on it, cleaned the surface, and then I came in here and knocked the rust off both sides here so we don't have any, you know, wobbly wheels or anything. And something I wanted to show here on this brake, something that proves this, it says Canada right there, and then you swing over here, and there's a Pentastar right there. These are the original brakes to the vehicle. So that or they were done once and they were done at a Chrysler dealer. You never know. But I would argue they're probably original. and then it got pads. Well, new pads, maybe they didn't put new rotors on it. You saw the other rotor. But there, it's all cleaned up here. I'm going to take this back off, actually, because I'm going to put some grease on the inside there, and then right here, so then they don't seize up like they did last time. When we inevitably come back and replace these, I would think. We'll see. We'll see. If it doesn't shake, I won't worry about it, but if it does, we'll definitely revisit. Hi. Hi. Hi, Graham. Interrupting the show, huh? Yeah, I don't want to touch it with my hand. Yeah, you. Alright, so I got the front motor mount off here, and this one can always be a pain in the butt because Chrysler decided to put a Pentastar bolt on the front of it. So anyway, I got it off here, I got it in the vise, and I always put a vice grip on it. I heated it up with some MAP gas here, and I just hold the mount, because you see how the rubber's kind of moving. Sometimes it might be easier to crack it loose in the car. I just took it out and did it here. Anyway, got this on here, and I whacked the vice grip with the mallet till it broke loose, and good to go now. Usually I try to replace that with a non-Pentastar bolt because screw this, you know, but there, that's how we replace that, because you got to reuse this bracket here, which I'll probably paint up really quick and then let that dry while I'm cleaning up. Otherwise, this mount was it was okay, but it wasn't great, so worth replacing since we're in there. Alright, last motor mount is out, and here's the reason we went and did this in the first place. Because I could tell that this one was bad. That is the worst one of them all. It's completely tore, and this motor mount is doing actively nothing. So, get this last one swapped in real quick, and that'll be that job complete, which leaves very few jobs. Really, the last thing I can do today, well, two things. I'm going to get this intake all buttoned back up, get this engine put back together. I'll probably hook the battery up, I'll fire it up, and, well, I'll have to hook the trans computer up first before I do that, but you know what I'm saying here. Get it fired up, make sure it still runs okay, make sure we've got no major issues there, and then I think I got to clean up around the thing. I'm going to get underneath it, and I think I'll get the undercoating done, get that messy job out of the way. That way, when Tuesday comes around, which is tomorrow, hopefully, our cap here hopefully is getting on a plane in New York right now, and it'll be here tomorrow. But ideally, we'll be able to just have to do that, and then we're done. And then it's done, and then it just needs an alignment, and it'll be good to go. Hopefully for a long time. Hopefully we don't need to rip back into this van for a while. As you can see, I've been quite busy today. I've done a lot of cleanup in the engine bay, put everything back together. I've done some little detailing bits that, I don't know, don't really mean anything, but kind of looks cool. Started with obviously scrubbing some of these areas back here where you can't get in, vacuuming all the junk out. Getting ready to get this intake on, cleaned up all the surfaces, gaskets, threw the intake itself on, hooked everything up. Good to go. And then other than that, I've gone through and I've touched up the font on all of the yellow stuff, like at least these. You know, just touched up with a black pen, just so the text kind of stands out a little bit. Scrub down some of the black stuff and the plastics, try to make it look a little better. It's aged plastics, you know, it is only so much you can do. I do have the battery hooked up. I just hooked it up. It's hot. I've retreated both terminals. Good to go. Kind of cleaned up the excess so it doesn't look like crap. This obviously looks really good and nice and clean over here. We're waiting over here for this yet. And then on the intake, which seems to have sprayed a drop of that stuff all the way over to the intake. That's cool. Anyway, I'll wipe that up after. I had that paint pen out for the touch-up stuff, and I touched up the 3.3 liter on that, and that looks really good. I also cleaned up this. If you've noticed, this was all rusty. I touched up that. And some of you keen eyes, if anybody was paying attention when this was all apart, both of the clip nuts were missing and broke off for the airbox here. And so I fished two washer nuts through here, or one at this hole right here. I fished them up through here to the magnet, screwed on the bolt, held them up with the pliers, and I welded them on. So now I've got new nuts in place. Bolted those down. These are bolts off of Carry the 91 Caravan. I think they're fender bolts. Anyway, I touched them up with some paint after they were in place. That looks really good too. other than that, I did hook everything back up here. We'll have to take this back out for sure for setting this up. This is still loose. I don't know what the clearance is going to be like in here. We might have to take some stuff apart, but I wanted to get everything back together because I want to try fire this thing up and just make sure it's going to run, right? Let's see if she'll run. Fires right up, well, pressure light goes out, and it's sitting there purring like a kitten. Make sure that's not touching stuff like it is right now. There. All clear, nothing's hitting the belts. Looking good there. Seems like it's gonna run good. All right. Make sure it fires back up. All right. All right, I got this brake line on and all tightened up, good to go. And then I got the bleeders cracked on both front brakes, and I was able to gravity bleed them, and I just fired it up, checked the pedal, it seems good. All right, so we're getting ready to undercoat the van here, and I've got it up in the air in the rear. And the first thing you want to do is start with a vehicle that is not rusty. That's step one. When you fail step one, what you got to do is, I just take a scraper here, and you want to knock off every little bit of loose rust, which in our case is half of the vehicle. Because ideally, you want the fluid film to get up under here and touch the metal. Because what you're trying to do is stop the chemical reaction, which is oxygen and iron. So if iron can't get to here, then you're good and it won't rust. So we have excessive rust. If anybody was wondering why we're not patching the rockers or the quarters, this is why. This car is terminal rusty. Albeit the 05 had worse rockers than this and we hacked those together, but you can get the full panels for them still. Anyway, this is what we're looking at here. I found a mouse nest in that rocker. See all this stuff here? That's not metal, that's foam. And that foam right there, they stuff these rockers full of foam, and this right here is what rots these fans out. Thanks, Chrysler. Because this stuff holds moisture, and it clogs all of the drains in the rocker, and then it just accelerates the rust. Anywhere where the foam is on both sides of this metal like this, like there's no metal left. It just turns to that and crumbles. So I kind of stayed away from poking the rockers too hard because I don't really care. What I'm focusing on is this inner rails and stuff here. See where this flaky paint is? We want to knock all that off and expose as much of the metal as we can. And we're just going to absolutely soak the inside and outside all those rails. Now, I'm going to show you what's going to kill this van now that we fixed the strut towers. Come over here. This is the rear leaf spring perch up here. Here, there you go. Boom, you can see what I'm talking about now. And eventually what's going to happen here is this perch is going to blow through the bottom of the vehicle. And that'll be what kills this van because I probably won't fix that. But we were up here, as you can see. The floor around here, not so good. Where this actually structurally mounts was better-ish, kind of. This is what's going to kill the car right here. This is some of the common rusting areas in this van. Is obviously the front strut caps, which we showed and we fixed. Up here on these leaf springs, the bumper back here, which is kind of upside down. This bumper, surprisingly, is solid. These usually rot out on the bottom. This one's not bad. That leaf spring perch is better. These axles these ones aren't as prone as the second gens and first gens of rusting out. Up in here, around here, and right up in there, and obviously the wheel arches right there. And we've already talked about this. But you see, if you don't knock this flaky stuff off, the fluid film ain't gonna get up under here to slow this down. It'll just keep rusting underneath it. So as much as we can expose, the better and more we can slow it down. Granted, there's no metal left there. As you can see, it's all foam. So that's what I've been working on, as you can see with this mess here. So I'm about done with what I'm going to do. and we're gonna just coat it full of fluid film and just see what we can slow down. It's you know, it is what it is, right? Surely that's normal, right? Tire for size reference of that pile of rust and foam and mouse nest. So ideally also, you should have the underbody of your car really clean. I did take it through a wash like the last time I drove it, but like it's not that clean. But you know, it'll be good enough for what it's for. So, if your car is nicer than this, the fluid film ought to do a lot better than what it's about to do for us. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see what kind of miracles we can perform here. As long as we keep those main rails there from getting any worse and the structural supports and stuff, we should be able to keep the van on the road for at least a couple more years. Right? Up here it don't look so bad, right? Well, I'm done. And by done, I mean I ran out of fluid film. I think I had robbed a can or two while this stuff was sitting waiting, and I'm a can or two short. Make sure you wear a mask when you're putting this stuff on. It's not toxic, per se. It's lanolin oil, so it'll actually moisturize, but you don't need to breathe that much in. Anyway, I'm a little skimpy on the fluid film. The rockers got a really good coating, and the inside of all the rails, which is the important part, got a good coating. Up under where all the suspension bolts too, like the leaf springs and stuff on the inside, got all good coating and stuff. On the outside of the rails, as you can see, well, and here's the thing, it's fluid film black, so you can kind of see the paint, but once this gets like a coating of dust on it, you probably won't be able to tell. But you see here, like where that rubber is, like kind of skimped out. The center floors I didn't really get very well, except where seams were, where you could see where rust was on the seams. But as you can see, there's still paint there, so it's not a big concern. And then back, in the very back here, I made sure to hit really good up here. Yeah, so like up there is all nice and good on both sides. I didn't get the back bumper, I ran out before I could get to that. But as you can see, I'd like to have gotten more on the floor and stuff. And I should have sprayed the tank straps, but those tank straps are brand new, they'll be fine. I do have a bucket of like fluid film oil, like the goopy stuff you put in an air gun. I could come back and kind of hit those really quick. I probably should with like a brush. I'm not going to do the whole floor in that because that's excessively messy. But as you can see, we got the important part. As you can see up front there, it's all nice and coated really well on the sides and stuff. I got the important parts. Next year we'll be able to hit it again, and we'll just cover on top of what's left of this at the spring. You know, it's after this winter. Some of this stuff will kind of flow off as we go through car washes. It'll get thinned out. So next year when we coat this, we have a nice little base coat to start with, and on the inside of the rails has all got a coat on it. And so we'll just continue to add to this. That's the idea anyway. And once you get a couple of layers on there, usually pretty good, but we'll see. There's my botched attempt, as it always is. I also came back with a rag and wiped the doors and stuff, and on the tires and stuff and whatever. But that's it. We're done. My package isn't here yet. It's on its way. It's out for delivery, so we should be able to get that strut together today and get this van out of here. And then I've got to mop this garage floor because it is an absolute mess. This stuff makes a huge freaking mess. So ideally do it out in your driveway, like a gravel driveway or in the yard or something where it can go away. But job done. Look what finally showed up. The FedEx guy left it at the end of the road, which is, you know, as you should, whatever. It was supposed to be here at like 11 o'clock. It came at like 4:30. Anyway, I've already been working on here. As you can see, a guy threw it in place. I've already got the holes drilled for the 3 self-tappers to hold it. And I've got these 2 rivets in place, and I just put all this stuff back and wiped it off because the fluid film is literally everywhere. So I just made sure I was able to get into here. As you can see, I've gotten creative here with a bungee cord to pull this AC line out of the way to get at these 2. The only thing I've noticed with this is just, and it's probably because my patch panel is kind of just throwing the geometry off a little bit. This hole's good, this hole's good. I might have to waller that hole out a little bit from the bottom and just kind of expand this out so I can get the strut through. Obviously, it's not going to throw any alignment out because the 3 holes for the inner panel are still where they are. But we might have to waller that out a little bit. We'll see the fitment. I had to pull this thing back out, and I bent the heck out of it. I replaced this, by the way. So I'm going to have to figure out how to unbend that because they never come out right. They're like one-time use. Anyway, there's one more hole that's up back under here. I should be able to get the small drill in there, but I might have to do it to 7/32 and put one of the self-tappers in there and leave it. Same thing with that hole in the corner. Well, hopefully we can get some rivets in here. It's just space is kind of constrained with the rivet gun I have. But speaking of this rivet gun, it shoots the ends out so fast it cracked the little plastic housing. So that's cool. Anyway, we're working on this. I should have this done pretty quickly here. Looks good though, that's for sure. Looks good. And that is 924206, and I believe it's, I don't remember. I'll put the OEM part number up on here, which is how I had to find this, by the way. That was super hard to find. And just like that, it is installed. We made some executive decisions here. This one, we put a screw in just like we did on the driver's side. This is the one that has the loose rivet on the driver's side. We opted for a self-tapper. And then that is impossible to get at with anything remotely assembled on this side, so we opted for a self-tapper there. Otherwise, rivet, 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 rivet. And it's good to go. I do believe I'm going to have to drill that out, but I'm going to try it first just to see. You never know. It might just fit. So we should be okay there. I got to do some reassembly here, get everything buttoned back up. And let's get this van fired up and driven out of this garage, finally, and before Christmas to boot. That looks really good, doesn't it? That is awesome to have done. And there it is, all buttoned up, aside from the hood and the wiper cowling tray. We are good to go. The strut is installed. I did have to waller this hole out just a hair. I went from the bottom up so it lined up with the hole. Slotted right in, no big deal. Hood hinge all installed. All this kind of cleaned up, you know. I'd say it looks good. It looks really good. And just like that, the van is back together. It was definitely worth it. I just went and painted those arms, and they look flawless. They make the plastics look bad. The plastics looked really good before. Alright, finally, it's time to get old Blondie out of the garage and back on the road where she belongs. And there she is. She's out, she's running good. Those brakes kind of feel like they might need blood again, but if you remember, we don't have the speed sensor for the passenger side, so I figure we'll take care of it when we get to that point. I was gonna check the air in these tires and then I didn't. That one arguably looks a little low. Well, they're warm, so I'll let them chill out overnight, and I'll check the air pressure in them tomorrow. But I figure, let's take ourselves a victory lap. It is good enough for that. And then tomorrow, we'll take it for a drive. But this thing really, turn the flash off, should handle miles better than it did before, because one, we have sway bars, two, we have good shocks, and three, we have brake calipers that don't lock up. All right, let's see how this thing drives. Steering wheel seems straight-ish. Maybe a little to the left. It was pretty straight before. It's a little left, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Look at those. You guys say third gens have bad lights? Look at those headlights. Come on, get real. You need good headlights, and they need aimed right. And some new bulbs. That's what it is. Every van I find has 20, 30-year-old bulbs. Guess what? Those bulbs are not as bright as they used to be. And then you get them with foggy yellow headlight lenses that are all scuffed. Guess what? No wonder your headlights don't work. All right. Let's see how she does. Steering wheel's definitely a little off center. Little just pointed to the left. But we'll see if she shakes, how that goes. No shake at 55. I think I can smell the fluid film burning off of everything. Little kind of vibration at 60 there. We'll get up to speed here, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if that was those tires or maybe those CV axles. I don't know. This isn't bad though, this is tolerable. But yeah, big improvement in the handling department. Yeah, that's miles better. But yeah, it feels good. Brakes are even. It doesn't like wobble when you hit the brakes. Like it used to wobble, like you'd feel one engage and it'd go like that. They feel good, they release. It doesn't pull. So we fixed the brake issue, we fixed the suspension issue and the handling issue. It's good to go. All right. That being said, if for some odd, weird reason, one of you guys really, really has to have this rust bucket of a van, you know, email me if you want. I don't expect anybody to want this thing, aside from me. But if you do, feel free. Or if you want any of my other vehicles, I'm always open to offers. I got a clear space to keep bringing them in, you know. So I'll take, you know, 10 grand best offer. You know, I know what I've got, guys. It's, you know, this is a fine machine here. And I'm giving you a deal at 10. No, I'm joking. So I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. So I've been driving this thing. This is my first time really out on the highway today, but for like the last 2 days I kind of putted it around for errands in town and stuff. And the handling on Old Blondie here is absolutely night and day. So having good struts and sway bar links attached makes a heck of a difference, believe it or not. Anyway, it drives great, and also the brakes are a lot more responsive. It doesn't pull all over the road. And actually, I think they might have bled themselves out. I know I said it felt a little spongy at first, but they seem pretty good. I think I'll probably do a quick bleed on them anyway when we put that speed sensor in, but for now it's all right. Okay, so we might not be done yet. It's starting to develop a weird clunky clunk in the front leftish area, I think, and not when I go over bumps, but when I'm cornering and the suspension is doing this. I'm wondering if that CV axle isn't going out like I figured it would be. I'll have to get it up in the air and shake it down when I get home and see if there's anything loose. But I'm going to do the right thing now that it's been some time and the budget's freed up. I'll get the 2 CV axles ordered for this, and when we go to put that speed sensor in, we'll swap in 2 fresh CV axles as well. And hopefully that solves our issue. Maybe it'll solve the little shake I'm getting. It probably will, because it didn't used to shake with these same tires and everything on it. But yeah, it's developing a little clunky clunk. Anyway, I'm at the car wash here. I'm gonna get this thing washed off. We'll get it home, and then I'll see you guys right back here in, for you, a couple of seconds, for me a couple of weeks or so, and we'll get this thing buttoned up and then ready to go.
2 weeks later.
And here we are again for the encore on getting Blondie ready. I got the new CV axles in and ready to go. I've got the eBay special speed sensor here and ready to go. I got the rest of the old one removed. I'm just going to go ahead and rip that all back apart, swap the CV axles really quick, put it back together, and call it a day. Hopefully the ABS light goes out. No promises. I got to read the codes if it doesn't, because I think the other sensor probably needs the same treatment. And then we'll go ahead and I'll get this thing in the shop for an alignment and a quick wheel balance, and we should be all done. I was getting a clunk when I was driving it the last time I drove it, like a week or two ago, when I first got it going. I was getting a clunk about, you know, halfway home, and I didn't find anything loose on this side. I'm going to check the other side. If I don't find anything, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the sway bar bushings, which I didn't replace. But they look okay to me, so I don't know. Unless these CarQuest junkyard struts I got are junk. But that couldn't possibly be the case. No way. No way. Anyway, I'm just going to plug away. I just want to get some work done here before it gets dark because, you know, it's winter. Well, it's kind of winter. Look at all this ice. It's death. So I've got this in place here. Jack kind of holding the carpet along with the tire so I don't slip and fall. You know, too bad anyway. I don't know if it's because I disturbed them or if I was in denial or if they just happen to go bad right now. Those outer tie rods on both sides, they're junk. I don't remember if I actually popped them loose. I don't know that I did until now, and maybe that just kind of whatever. They've got just a tiniest little bit of play up and down in them. The inners feel fine. I have the driver's side jacked up now too, because I wanted to make sure I got that all apart. And that they're not like gone, like it's gonna fall apart gone, but like they're at the stage where it's time to replace them. And especially if we're getting an alignment, they're gonna appreciate me having done this. The inners feel fine on both of them. There's no play. They feel okay. This guy's been doing circles around the house. Look at him go. Right behind the yard light. That's the second time he's done a full circle around the house. I'm gonna look it up on Flight Radar and see what it comes up with. Here he goes again. It's a Cessna 172R Skyhawk out of Minneapolis. And I guess he was doing some circles around Mankato, and here he is doing circles around my house. There he goes again. Look at him go. Yeah, that's the same plane in the background. He's directly overhead right now. There's a nice pile for the scrapper. 2 tie rods, 2 junk CV axles. I got a reclaim my temporary clamp off of that boot before that goes away. But that outer tie rod came off, no issue. This one I had to heat it up a little bit, but then it spun pretty free. I just used 2 big crescent wrenches, like that big boy and then that one right there. Otherwise, the inner tie rods, they're good. There's no play in them. They hold themselves up now with the outers off, so that's usually that's a kind of decent indicator they're not even close to being wore out if they'll just kind of suspend themselves like that. So I'm going to get on the road and go pick up our new outer tie rods so we can put this thing back together and be done with it. Hopefully. I want to drive you, Blondie. Stop asking for parts. I ain't got no more parts or money, really. So, you know. Yeah, no. We have returned with 2 brand new DriveWorks greasable tie rods. One is older than the other, and one is much better quality. Whatever, it doesn't make a difference. They got grease in them. They're going to get thrown on there real quick, and let's get this thing out there for a test drive. Arguably, I think I'm going to fire it up right now and kind of let it warm up while we're doing this, because this is going to take me all of 10 minutes to do, because I did all the prep work and had it ready to go. And then hopefully, all we need is an alignment, like I said, in a tire balance, but, you know, we'll see. All right, we're showing 1:15, 8:39 on the clock. Vitals are looking good. No lights on the dash so far. Hopefully we don't get an ABS light here. Let's take this thing for a test drive if I can get out of the driveway. I'm really hoping for no ABS light. That would be amazing. I hate the big orange light in my face. There we go. So we got to maneuver the parking lot, naturally. The extra vehicles because the truck's in the driveway. All right. And hopefully that shake I felt that has been getting worse because of those, which I think is that driver's CV axle especially, hopefully that's all gone and we're back to something good, and then it just needs an alignment. Great, ABS light? No? Maybe? We'll see. We'll know really quickly here in a second. No, wait. Oh, damn. All right, I'll have to read the code on that. We'll see what it's asking. Moment of truth. Feels good so far. Dead smooth. Still feels good at 60. There, that helps a little bit. Still feels pretty good at 65. I can feel a little something in the back. I think it's those tires that are out of balance, but it's better, I think. I think it's better. Honestly, I don't remember. So we've got 2 ABS codes. That, which we just fixed, and that's new. Uh-oh. I don't know what we're gonna do about that one. That'll have to look into. Oh, you thought that was the end of the video? No. Why would it be? Of course not. I drove it to work today, and I get a call when I'm at work, and my dad's like, hey, you should check the transmission fluid in that thing. There's a giant puddle in the driveway. And I'm like, nah, there's no way. It was probably just a little bit from when I popped the axles out, even though I didn't remember any leaking. And he's like, yeah, you should check. So I check it at work, and it, sitting in the parking spot there, it doesn't look like it's leaking. So I fire it up. I check the fluid. It's looked okay. I mean, I checked it when it was cold. So cold and kind of off, it should be above full. So it seemed fine. Drove fine. Drove it all the way home, and I go to check it with a hot reading. It's about a quart low. It's like, it's at the top of the add line, but Not a big deal. And then I'm going to add fluid, and I look underneath, and sure enough, drip, 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 drip. So I give this van, Blondie here, you better be listening, all new parts, new tie rods, new to its strut. Maybe it's mad about the used struts. Maybe you're mad. I don't know. Anyway, I do all this work, and then it decides to start pissing transmission fluid. So I got a hunch, and the hunch is I ripped that axle seal. Now you'll hear, oh, replace the axle seals every time that you do a CV axle. Well, how many times do you do a CV axle? It's not that many, so maybe you should, but maybe the seals aren't bad, so why do it? Especially this driver's side one's kind of a pain in the ass to do, and I've always had good luck with not doing them. Maybe it bit me in the ass this time. But who knows, did I tear it putting the axle in, or did I tear it taking the old one out? Or did I tear it at all? Or do we just have a coincidental leak? I don't know. We're gonna jack it up live.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
And we're gonna find out. This is the side, when I was looking at the alignment, this is the strut. It's pointed in like this if you look at it. So maybe we can fix that too while we're in here. I do have an alignment scheduled for Saturday. It is Monday right now, so I have to have this fixed. But this tire's kind of like that, and the other one looks kind of good, so yeah. So I think, if nothing else, when we look at this, if we have to take it apart or not, let's fix the strut, kind of kick it back out a little bit, and that might fix most of my alignment. But yeah, why would this be the end? Why can't we have a vehicle that's good to go? I don't know, what's it, look, where's it coming from? Oh no, it's definitely axle seal. Damn. You know what that means, right? All of it, back apart. CV axle out. So these Chinese frickin' axles, man. See how they're smooth all the way through because they use the cheap axle housings that they use for the same thing for everything. You can't pry on them. And the C-clip they use in there is a little too big because they use the cheap-ass same-size clip for everything, and it's the wrong size for this technically. And I can't get the axle out at all. And I've tried ripping the joint apart. I'm to the point I don't care about the axle. I can't get it out of there. I've got a hose clamp over it, and I've been trying to pry on like the little worm gear of the hose clamp with a screwdriver because you can't pry on nothing. Anyway, I've about given up for the day on getting that pile of shit out of there. But I think I did find the little clunk I was going with. Our junkyard struts are junkyard struts. They shouldn't have that much play in them. If I do it just right, it'll clunk too. Like, some play is normal, sure, a little bit. But it shouldn't move like that. I'm not even applying very much to it. So, don't do what I do. Don't buy used shit. I'm so over this van right now. So, I'm going to get some new struts on order. I'm going to order another driver's side. I can't order them on Rock Auto unless we'll see what the overnight cost is, but I got to get that axle out of there. I need 2 new struts. That's unfortunate. Well, that's out. Dad had made some sort of slide hammer thing and wrapped a chain around it, and we were able to get that thing out of there. Anyway, I'm losing all my trans fluid, which is fine, but time to get that seal out of there. It's the next problem. Oh, we're making good time, actually. There's the seal. I was able to get that out, so what I did is I got that big pry screwdriver right here, and I pried from the inside of the lip, and I folded it out, and then I was able to get behind the seal. You just kind of got to, like, break the lip loose, and then you can get under it, and it kind of breaks free. But when it was still in there before I messed with it, it kind of looked like it was, like, oblonged, like the outside seal lip. So, you know, it was leaking, clearly. Just about slipped and died. The only seal I found so far, I thought I had a few of these. I kept a good used one that I probably pulled from the passenger side because they're easy to get out. And that one looks really good. I'm going to look a little more for a new seal because I thought I had some new ones. And if I don't find it, we're going to put that good used one in it. because it doesn't look all that old anyway. You see how it's like not rusty or anything? It looks decent, so I'll probably clean it up a little bit, get some of that grease out of there, and we'll put that one in. But hopefully I find a new one. But that one's junk. All right, there's our used saved seal installed. Now, if this does not teach you that I am not smart, I don't know what will. So we're gonna gamble on that. The new CV that we just took out seems pretty roach. The inner joint it's like sprung now. So good thing I ordered a new axle to replace it with. So we're gonna put another new axle in. Great. Great. And now I'm gonna work on getting the new to it struts off again and replacing them with actual new struts. So on today's episode of Don't Do What I Do, don't do that strut with the battery in, just so you're aware. Otherwise you risk hitting the wrench on the thing. So just so you're aware, make sure you disconnect that when you do this and not do what I do and cheat and do shortcuts. But here is the proof that this strut was my clunk. This thing does not move like the other one. It does not clunk. It's tight. That strut is junk. So I'm out my $15 or whatever I spent on it. I know I got it at a 50% off sale, whatever it was, 10, 15 bucks. I'm out that, but we've got ourselves a shiny new FCS strut. It is good to go. Now it's time to button this thing up and call it good before I keep looking at these control arms that really aren't too far off from needing those too, but you know. All right, third time's the charm, maybe, hopefully. Hey, if anything, this is a lesson on how not to fix this. But there, we got our new strut in. We got our brake line reattached. The axle nut is torqued to 180. Tie rod is tight. The strut bolts are tight. Both of the bracket for the ABS is tight. The sway bar link is tight. This side should be good to go. Throw the tire on it quick, and we'll go ahead. The other side should be quick because we're only removing the strut. We don't have to pull the CV out and do a seal and yada yada yada. So I should be done real quick. Well, there we go. That strut went pretty quickly because all we had to do was pretty well remove the strut. That one seemed okay. It didn't have the side-to-side play, so I guess that one's probably good. It's going on the scrap pile. Anyway, get the tire on here quick. I know I have to add, it was a quart low before we made a bigger mess, so I'm going to start by adding a quart, firing it up, let it warm up. We'll see where we're at, and we'll add some fluid as needed, and we'll take this thing for a test drive, and we'll see how it functions now. I mean, just looking at it, it looks pretty decent. So, yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll see when it's on the ground and we settle this suspension. But those are all junk. Those are junk to the scrap pile. Let's get this thing wrapped up quick. Well, I put a quart of trans fluid in it. Let's see if she goes into gear. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that should be enough for a test drive. Anyway, it didn't seem to be dripping out right away. We'll see after we drive it if it rips the seal or whatever the hell it did before. I don't know, man. But let's go ahead. Take this thing for a test drive. Something seems not right. I tell you right now, something is not right. Something is pulling the car every which way right now. Let's go look. Something ain't right. Well, that tire's kind of like that. And that tire's kind of like that. How'd that happen? I didn't do nothing. How is it that far out right now? I didn't do anything aside from put struts in, and the camber shouldn't mess it up that bad, but it's that one be like that. And that one be like that. That's odd. Tire gaps that looks good. That looks good. So, and I got the right struts on the right side. One says L, one says R. That one says R, and the other one says L. How does that happen? Because we didn't change the tie rods where they were at. We just changed the struts. I ain't never had one throw it out that far. That's odd. I mean, the tires are still, you know, up and they look decent up and down wise, like camber wise. Look at it closer. We'll probably have to pull those back off and adjust toe. At least try to get it close, because that's undrivable there if it's dragging like that just on the gravel and the ice. Yeah, I'm not no suspension nerd, but tell me how my toe got that far out like that. Because I guess changing the camber does pull the toe in and toe out a little bit, but I would think it would adjust total, you know? Or like the total wouldn't change. Just where the wheel's at and everything. I don't know, I guess. Well, that's just made this, I guess I'm not done yet, but, you know. Well, so here's this inaccurate alignment stuff I got on Amazon coming to use again. At least it'll help me get close. And right now it's very not close. On the inside here, we're showing, what, 162 centimeters or whatever that is. And we're showing just about 167 over here. So we gotta pull the tie rods. They gotta go out. So we're gonna unthread them because it'll pull the back out and push the front in, which is what we want. We want this to get bigger, that to get smaller. I know I had that backwards when I was doing the 05 and I got myself really confused for whatever reason, but I know what I need to do. And at least if we do this, we'll get it to where it won't go like this going down the road. And maybe the wheel will be straight. I don't know. I know both wheels are kicked out, so ideally we would crack both loose and do like one turn on each one, you know, and just try to get them both close, because otherwise the wheel will still be funny, you know what I mean? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's going to a shop. I just need to make it so it's drivable. All right, and just like that, they're both like 64.5. They've got 4 notches on, you know, this just before the 5. They've got 4 little millimeters before the 5, whatever, before 165 centimeters. I think that's how that is. I don't know. Anyway, they're the same is what I'm saying. And what I did is I broke both outer tie rods free, and then I spun the inners on both sides about equally. So I did this one about half, because like we were off, what, like 4 or 5 centimeters, so I did like 2.5 centimeters, and that pretty well set this thing dead center. Like, it, just looking at it, it looks straight. And then I went to the other side, and the other side was, you know, pointed out, and so I turned that one, and now it looks pretty straight. It almost looks like it's just a hair left, but I don't know, it's hard to say. It looks pretty straight too. And now let's note that the wheel's off the ground, and the suspension's going to settle, and it's going to be different. All right, yeah, a little bit of map gas there on those nuts. Put a vice grip on the inner tie rod. They broke right free, no problem at all. So I got them both tightened up, and we should be good to go. As you can see, we're sitting nice and pretty there, and nice and pretty there. So they should be, well, they're a lot closer. That's what we're going with. That should be good enough for me to ideally drive it to work tomorrow, just to shake it down. All right, we got her back on the ground. Let's try that again. What is this? Take 4, take 5, take 6. I don't know. Like, legitimately, it's like that. Anyway, and here, turn that off. Seatbelts on, everybody.
Seatbelts, everyone! Please let this be a normal field trip with a friend. No way!
Cruising on down Main Street.
All right, hopefully it actually backs out straight and doesn't go everywhere. So far, significantly better. I do need to make a correction because of where the van is sitting. We're too close to some cars over here. Yeah, that's, I think this will be drivable. So first thing I've noticed, we're not dragging back and forth on the ice and the gravel. Second thing, it didn't do the clunky clunks anymore. We fixed that. So let's see where we're at here. Steering wheel, not straight. As you can see, it's not too far off, but it's not straight. It's not bad though. All right, here goes nothing. Yeah, steering wheel's a little off. It's not too far off though. Seems to drive down the road straight. Not bad anyway. Maybe going a little left. Feels pretty good there at 55 so far. Feels pretty good there. Can hear the back tires, the tires shake in the back, but not bad. Yeah, the shake's about the same. The handling's definitely better. Oh, the handling is miles better. Yeah, those struts were bad. Yeah, don't get used CarQuest struts from the junkyard. Unless they like look actually brand new. Those look kind of like, you know, newish. Like they've been replaced, but like not very good. I don't know, it's what I was working with at the time. Whatever, you know. You win some, you lose some, that's for sure. But yeah, it goes down the road straight. I got my hands off. So, and it's cruising along. Yeah, I'll be ready to drive this to work tomorrow. This should be fine. Brakes feel good. Not bad anyway. And I think tomorrow we should roll 116,000 miles, which I think is just about 2,000 miles. It'll be almost 2,000 miles. It says 1,891.7. Since we pulled this thing out of the swamp it was parked in for 9 years at the time, coming up on 10 here. This thing had been parked and off the road for a very long time, and it fired right up, and now it is roadworthy. Otherwise, left for scrap, left for dead, and she's back on. It took a lot of work, but you know, it's here. It's here. Was it worth it? From a financial standpoint, any reasonable person would tell you absolutely not. But for me, I think it was worth it. For you guys got to enjoy it, and I get to drive it. So, and long term, this thing is definitely, when it comes time that it, you know, is too rusty or whatever, like the rear leaf springs give out or something, you know, or something happens, it's a good donor for something else, you know. It's got good everything now, pretty much, except the body. The body's got cancer, but yeah, this thing's driving great. Okay, I'm super happy with how that just turned out. Well, look at that, no leaks. And I did add that quart. I drove it around again, and then I had to add another quart. It was 2 quarts low after that whole ordeal. I think it was 1 quart low from driving it back and forth to work with a bad seal, and then getting the axle out and everything, we lost another quart. So that makes sense, but it's up in between the hot level now, so it should be good. I'll have to drive it to work and back and then check it one more time, but it's good enough to drive now. It's within range. So we're looking good. I think I finally got all of the quirks worked out in this van. It feels good. Because the first time I put those struts in it, and it was still kind of funny, and nothing was, you know, oh, it's just that's just so annoying, you know. But it feels really good when you finally got something worked out. Like, I think this van is finally like 100% ready to roll as soon as the alignment's done. Well, here we are in Blondie, the 2000 Chrysler Grand Voyager. Just got out of the alignment shop this morning, and also just ran some grocery errands and stuff. But I'm happy to announce that she is officially aligned. Everything is in the green. I'll pull up a screenshot here if I remember to. But we did have some problems on the right rear tire specifically. So remember I mentioned the kind of like a wheel bounce or shake, the slight shake I feel. We found it, or the shop found it. But before they found it, it turns out I must have cross-threaded a lug on the right rear because they couldn't get it off. They had to you know, drop the lift with a breaker bar on it to get it to snap, and then they replaced the lug and everything, which is awesome. But that right rear tire, the one of the belts is separating on it, so the tire's all out around. So that's the bounce I was hearing. I had them balance it anyway, just because I was in there, and I think the balance was only like $3 or whatever. They got me for the lug and the stud though, so that's how they get you. But I think I've got a full-size spare under here, so when I get home, if it doesn't it needs to be replaced. That belt is gonna let go one of these days probably, but when I get home, I'll go ahead and I'll swap to that full-size spare, I think. Otherwise, the front tires they checked, they were at 830 seconds. The rear tires were at 530 seconds, so maybe I just buy 2 tires for it. Nice. It also needs one of those. Go away, come on. I need to get over there and kick it. That's what I should do, but there. That fan is going bad. So that'll have to get on the order list as well. But yeah, I think I should just buy 2 tires for it. I think she's earned two new tires. So we'll buy 2 new fronts, and then we'll put the ones that are on the front in the rear and call it good. So otherwise, we're gonna see how she drives here. But that is gonna do it on pretty well the season 1 of this van. It's done. It's ready for the road. We've done everything we need to do, aside from what I just mentioned. So with that, I will thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And I think next week's going to be a fun one, so make sure you stick around, stay tuned. Also watch last week's video. You know, there's some teasers in there, but you guys don't seem to want to watch me blow snow with a snowblower and you go snowmobiling and stuff. You guys should watch that. It's fun. It's exciting. But stay tuned next week. I think we've got a new release for you guys. So I'll see you guys then.
Mine's well, this is a VA2. This is a 302. What size is mine?
Here's a 351 Windsor.
Mine's a 351 Windsor.
Yeah.
The fuel pump. Yall. Yep, mine is too. I got the dual phone. It looks pretty close to this thing. Oh, you said it. Are you kidding me? I know you said the big. Now he's playing. Oh, I never even asked. This tool is right. There you go. Mine 4. Look, no big deal. Yeah, I got the lockout hub. I just looked down and but I think the fenders and the doors, but my fenders and doors is good. My hood's good. This hood's in good shape. One little thing there.
That one took some air. The others all have air in them. Well, there she is. That didn't take me very long at all, actually. That came out surprisingly nice. I don't know why all the bolts came out of this thing. They did. Yeah, we're on the ground. Those control arm bushings aren't the greatest. But, you know, that sounds like a problem for later. Let's get that new strut up in there quick. He's got to go slower than that. Alright, whatever. It is what it is. Hopefully the bumper survives. He's got to go slower. Slower! Don't stop! No! God! Told you I'd be out here before dark this time. Looks a little nicer in the day, huh? You know, and not buried in that backyard. So, why don't we take our first really close look at this thing and see just how bad it is. So we're running into a problem, and it's because that alternator is seized. We're trying to loosen the tension of the belt, and it should spin the pulley, and I should be able to pull it off of the idler, but the alternator is seized, so it is not letting the belt loosen to do that. So I'm gonna have to cut the belt. Will, this 2000 Chrysler Grand Voyager with only 114,000 miles run after 8 years. And it fires right up. And it's so quiet. It's so quiet because nothing's spinning. It just fired right up. You poor thing. Listen, it doesn't even tick. Why does that sound so good? What? There's no fucking shot. It just went, and it's alive. And it definitely hasn't been cranked over in a long time because that alternator is seized. Do we got a horn? No? Wow! There's no way that just fired up like that. Brakes kind of work. Go forward. Oh, we got a transmission. Alright, let's see if I can get it off this ramp. The trailer. Alright, we don't have power steering. I forgot about that part. Oh, we're going. I can't stop it. Yeah, I've got the foot to the floor. There, it worked out. Seems to get up and go just fine. Honestly, that lower panel turned out really good. A little bit to anchor to, so there, that big hole is gone. Next to this giant hole right here. And that hole right there. But that hole is gone. Look at that. Nice. I think I've made a mess. A little bit. Well, would you looky at that. Sitting there purring like a kitten. Well, would you look at that. I've been busy. But she's all done. The interior is done again. This time, it's done right. Well, righter-ish. We have upgraded to 98 Town & Country LX interior. And with that, we gain the front infinity door panels, which we inserted and added the infinity speakers and wiring harness. We gained the door lights on both sides. We gained the wood grain trim on both sides. And then we also gained the party kind of speckled fabric that I like better than the other fabric by a mile. And second row bucket seats and a third row bench. So we've got all the seats in here now. We also gained a driver front power seat, which we were already wired for. I just plug it in and she's good to go. And it does work. I will demonstrate quickly. I've already got it adjusted. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. does work. As you can see, the lights all work too. Everything seems to work. The speakers with that extra bass there, a lot nicer. We already added the wood grain center console there before. Now it matches great. And most importantly, we've gained some glorious, it doesn't smell. Floor mats are in there. I tossed everything. I tossed all the old floor mats, the old seats, the old door panels, everything. It's all gone. Garbage. The old carpet. It's on the back of the truck waiting to go back to U-Polar Parts where they will take it for free. So, but yeah, this turned out great.